Hey everybody, it's Paul Carruthers, the communications manager for MotoAmerica, and this is our weekly podcast, Off Track with Carruthers and Bice. And this week it's Carruthers, Bice, and Rispoli or Hog Spoli or whatever you want to call him. But James, welcome to the show. Sean, welcome as well. And let's have a little fun. Start out with this, James. Where are you and what are you doing now that you're a factory Harley-Davidson star?
Listen, I'm in an undisclosed location. It's top secret. Too many confidentialities I signed. I can't really say much. So we're just going to sit here for probably about 35 minutes in silence. Everything else.
Hey, I was thinking of that too. Like, I bet like a Harley-Davidson contract is like a real deal. You know what I mean? It's like there's probably a lot of signatures. You probably felt like you're doing an escrow, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? 33 pages of just, yep, can't do this, can't do that. No, it wasn't too bad, to be honest, but there definitely is. Working with a manufacturer, you got to keep things tight and fully respect that you're working with an actual manufacturer, and it's, products and things of that nature that will come out that can't be seen or talked about in that regard. So there's certain things, obviously, you've got to be respectful of working with that, and there's nothing I don't really want to jeopardize what I have already. I haven't even got on the bike yet, so
so James, have you signed a contract now? Have you already done it?
Yeah, I signed. I don't think they would have sent a release out without the contract signed.
Yeah, and when was it? Was it right at the end of the season, or was there some time? How did it come about? Did they let you know before the season was over, or take us through it if you can?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because the championship with 3 Harleys was, it's touchy-feely. At some level, we got some great support. This is when let's talk from Vance and Hines' perspective. We got great support from Harley last year, and, with a lot of the updates and things of that nature, really helped us fight for, the championship and to run closer to the front. And it's like no, I don't know how to say it, but it's like I've always wanted to try to be on a factory seat. So that was the goal going into it, is before even we started in Daytona, in the mission interviews for me was I'm trying to find a factory seat. Like that's what this year's about. And it's not against Vance and Hines or anything, but just having the factory behind you, having that sort of budget, having all the other things that come with being a factory rider is something I wanted, and I've never had it. It's been that elusive thing that James Rispoli hasn't had in his career, and they don't come around, very often, and it's very difficult. Somebody like Josh Herron, who's seemed to ride for every single factory, it's tough to even just get the one. So that was a goal of mine, and working with just having some of the, being at some of the tests and things of that nature, I had a pretty good relationship with a couple of the guys underneath the team, and just joking around and stuff. And Jason, he was always been a big advocate for me, especially coming into this season. He was a big advocate for me to be on a Harley. They obviously wanted to get the championship back, and at some level they wanted the factory bikes to win, but if they couldn't, they wanted a Harley-Davidson to win. So that was kind of always the motto going into the year was, listen, at all costs, we need a Harley-Davidson to win. And so I kind of fell right in line with that message. And yeah, it was kind of pretty late in the season. There was obviously some jokes here and there from me to them, like, hey, this, that, and the other. But, we're all racing in the middle of the season, and it's tough to really talk business, especially, for somebody like me. I don't have a manager, so it's tough to break that relationship of, hey, you're a racer, and all right, I got to go be a manager for James and try to find a seat and whatnot. And obviously, I don't want to be disrespectful to Vance and Hines or to, the guys under Harley. So it was a touchy-feely sort of thing. There were like a couple jokes here and there, but nothing really was talked about until after the season.
Yeah. All right, I've got a really tough question for you. Well, I don't know. We'll see. So Paul and I, and you may not be able to answer it or may not want to, but Paul and I know the answer to this, but I want to ask it because I'm not sure that fans would understand it, and I haven't seen anybody asking this, but one of the things that would come up is obviously Hayden won the championship. So you think well, he would be the odds on to move up. But there's some reasons for that. Can you explain that so that people understand it from what you
As far as what's the actual question?
Okay, well, let me tell you what I heard, and maybe it's not true, and I think Paul heard this or understood it too. I think Hayden has even told us. Hayden wants to race Superbike and Stock 1000. I don't believe Harley-Davidson Motor Company wants their riders to be on another brand of motorcycle. And I'm not saying they chose you because of that at all, but it kind of probably had something to do with it, right? Hayden won the championship, so if he wasn't otherwise committed to other classes, maybe he would have been a candidate. Do you think?
Yeah, so I don't know what was talked about behind closed doors of, hey, why James versus Hayden. I definitely know that Hayden wants to ride other motorcycles and other classes, and as should he. I mean, super stock champion. The guy's got tons of talent. He was a great teammate to me. As the other side of things, I think Terry, they, as a privateer effort, just won the championship, and then to have the number one kind of taken from you,
Oh.
I don't think that's right either. So I think Terry, and out of respect to Vance and Hines, how do you just take the number one back? Like, you just essentially are buying the guy, and now that team, that private team that did all that hard work, doesn't get the number one and get the rewards of having, to use it for sponsorship and this, that, and the other. So I think more that angle was, I think whoever won the championship, it would have been very, very difficult to take that person from, it might have actually been a blessing disguise that I didn't win the championship to get a factory seat per se. So,
yeah.
So I don't know why, I don't know why exactly the decision was, hey, James over, but I think accumulation's a thing. I've got a good media. I think they want some media. It's more of a whole package. I get along with Kyle. I've been in the bagger one more year. Hayden kind of had a gap year, so I was maybe a little bit. I think everything's just timing and whatnot, but I'm not really sure exactly. Hey, there was no hey, we picked you over this. It was just that never came up. It was just, hey, this, and it was, yep, okay, let's talk.
So you ran off in turn one on purpose.
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? the biggest mistake ever. So was James, somebody who was just all in. I literally told the guys, and I told everybody, and me and Hayden going into it was so funny. I got a quick story. So me and Hayden, after day one, when it was only up to me and him for the championship, we both were like, listen, whatever happens. Like, let's just go race smart and hard and whatever. Like, we've been like that the whole year. And it's so funny because it was wet, it's dry, and we're both pretty quick in both. And we're like just dancing around. The garage is like kind of weird because we're like, what are we gonna do? Dry, slicks, slicks or wets or whatever. And so we both roll around on wets. We come to the grid, and I'm like, man, it's dry. It's like really, really dry. And I see him. He's like, take the wheel out. So they're taking the wheel out, this, that, and the other. I get my guys. I'm like, all right, pretend to take the wheel out. And I was like, if he's going dries, I'm gonna go wets, right? Because it's the only way I can really beat him is I gotta
take a chance.
I've got to take a chance. So he gets his wheel out, and my wheel's he's just loosening the nut. He looks back at me and he goes, you gonna run dries? And I was like, I just want to be like, yeah, man. And I just couldn't do it.
You can't lie.
I can't lie. I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do it. And he's like, put the reins back in. So, but yeah, it was one of those deals, man. It's just. I honestly,
I think it worked out for the best for everybody, because from talking to Hayden, he was really comfortable riding for Terry's team. I got a sense that he was a little uncertain about being a Harley factory rider anyway, and as Sean alluded to earlier, it gives him still the opportunity to ride the other classes. So, and obviously, it's probably, the same with Kyle Wyman. It was probably a childhood dream of yours, because you grow up flat tracking, to be a member of that Harley-Davidson factory team, because it's been a huge thing. Jay Springsteen, Scotty Parker. I mean, it goes back forever. And because you're a flat tracker, that history, so it's got to mean a lot.
Dude, it means so much. And the other thing is to actually win a championship on the XG, which is the Harley-Davidson, I think went a long way for me getting the seat. Like if you look at it, besides Hayden win the championship, I was the only other guy to win a championship for Harley-Davidson.
Right.
So it went a long way, and it was something, I brought up, and it's something that I really, since I got on that Harley in 2019, the dirt track bike, I've kind of been on a Harley since in some way or another. And for me, that was always kind of the goal. And I remember I kept just visualizing it over the winter. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that I can get the good results and make the brand of James a little bit more, have an aurora, and to see this bagger thing explode into the fans. Like, it's the closest thing that I had to that BSB, electricity of the fans interaction is this bagger kind of community. And, the one thing I'll say is the Harley fans, man, they're loyal. Like, they're super loyal. And when I was telling this to the guys in 2021, I won a championship in 20 and 21. I was kind of finishing last every weekend and still had lines out the door because I was the only Harley. And they're always just so supportive of guys on the Harleys and stuff like that. So for me, it's just been this huge dream of mine, and to ride for the factory, the motor company, to go and see everything, to see where everything's made and all that gives you a little bit more, to ride for, because you're doing it for all the employees, everybody behind. It's been kind of eye-opening.
So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now, because I don't know if you're doing a photo shoot or whatever, but is that a Harley-Davidson thing?
So I'm on a golf trip.
So, okay.
Yeah.
I saw Kyle there, and I figured maybe it was some work or something, but.
So yeah, we're just here for a golf trip, and we got, like, if you see, I just got we're going right after this, so I'm gonna go try to work on that handicap. So.
How's the golf game? Is it getting any better?
Yeah, yesterday I started blocking them right a little bit, and I started peeling them, but it wasn't too bad. We played a game in Palm Springs, our half before our flight, and it wasn't too bad. We just used it as a warm up round for today. We're playing at a course here that's pretty good as long as the weather cooperates. But it hasn't been too bad. I'm pretty excited. The putting's getting a little bit better. I still got to work on that drive, man. I peel them right every once in a while, and it's never fun when you got to go digging, golf balls out of the woods.
Yeah. Hey, I want to bring up again that number thing, because James Rispoli, you were very astute about something, and I hadn't thought of this, but I talked to Terry Vance at New Jersey about this, and Paul knows this as well as I do. In 1991, Vance and Hines Yamaha won the Superbike Championship with Thomas Stevens, and he proceeded to go to Kawasaki, and that number one was on that bike. So Terry had that terrible thing happen to him before, so he's got a precedent with that, and that's kind of interesting that he would. I never thought of that angle, but he's going to have that number one. It's great.
Yeah, and they deserve it, man. That team, they worked so hard last year. All my guys under the team was. I mean, we had one goal going into it, and from testing, it was they really, truly, fully believed that we could win the championship. And I'll tell you, man, there was times like when we rolled out to Daytona and we were, 3 mile an hour down, 4 mile an hour down, that I was like, man, we're a fifth place guy. Like, this is not what I wanted. I want to be a front runner, and it's tough when you do that. And we ended up with, 1-2, and that just. After that kind of happened, my whole mentality just changed. That, you know what, anything can happen at any time. Like, just like the, getting all crossed up and winning that race with Kyle blowing up. It was like, just the stars aligned, and anything can happen at any time, and that's why we race. So I firmly believed it after that we could actually really do something, and it was really, really good working with Hayden and the whole team, and they deserve it. They deserve the number one and to run the number one, and Hayden deserves it.
Okay, so stepping up to the big team, and it's obvious that they do a lot more testing than the other guys can do. I mean, Indian does a lot of testing as well, but more so than Terry could do. That's obviously going to help you. You also have a different teammate in Kyle Wyman, who he's inarguably the leader of that class. You know what I mean? I mean, he's won the most races. He's always, if he's not the fastest guy, he's close to it. Is that
Yep.
going to make for a different atmosphere for you as far as that? I mean, at least you have the benchmark right under the same tent.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge advantage for me. I don't look at anything as a disadvantage. I get to see the guy who's leading the class, and I get to look at his data, and I get to pick his brain. And already it's been a pretty warm welcome, and they're under the same ideology of, hey, we got to work as a collective, and it's not just one rider, and where it's very. Mercedes F1, where it's all about the, collective moving and how can we get the best results collectively. So I think it'll be really good. And I look at it as I've got home right next to me. So if I kind of veer, I can always come back because he's not going to get too far away from, the one spot. Right? He's going to be kind of pushing that mark all the time. And now that I have the same equipment, if I start to veer right a little bit, I can come home pretty quickly, and I've been always really, really good in my career to copycat. That's kind of how I've gotten very quickly, or gotten up to speed very quickly. So to kind of have his stuff and to be able to see his data and to be able to understand, hey, how does he making the thing go fast? How can I implement Kyle Wyman into James Rispoli and then maybe just sprinkle a little, hog spolie in there and come up with a little good some good ingredients, come out with a good package. Just what we're gonna try to do. But it's only a benefit. Everybody's been super welcoming, and I'm sure there'll be some different pressures here and there, but I think Kyle will be a good magnet for that, where I can just get on and do my job.
All right, tough question number 2 for me, and I'm going to kind of ask this in 2 different ways. First of all, it's no secret we know Travis Wyman. You replaced Travis Wyman on the team, so Travis Wyman is out of the ride, and it was his brother who's on the team. Number 1, my first question: do you know who Hayden Gillim's teammate is going to be? Number 1, and number 2, might Travis Wyman slide into that place at Vance and Hines? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, so I can tell you right now, I do not know who's going to be Hayden Gillim's teammate. I think that's an elusive question as far as, or it's an elusive answer, really, because everybody's fighting for a bagger seat at the moment, and it's definitely, apparent that Vance and Hines is arguably the second best motorcycle, if not close to being really, really good or the best. And so that seat is very, very coveted. And I know that a lot of people are headhunting it. I know Terry's phone has probably been blowing up quite a bit since the announcement, really. I mean, obviously, there were some rumors going around, of some people. We saw Beach posted something of him riding my bike with Hayden. So I don't know. Maybe there's some rumors going around about that. I don't know if he's quite the guy yet for it. As far as I think he, coming off a Superbike podium at the end of the year or win really it's pretty tough to do that when you kind of at the front of Superbike to go to baggers. I think he should be on a Superbike, but I don't know. Honestly, I think it's going to be crazy. I think Travis, I haven't really heard much from him. We had a little bit of a dialogue after. He's been a good friend of mine for a long, long time. So as much as this is all I've wanted in my career, it's tough to, get it and then to see him lose it.
Yeah.
That's really hard for me. I didn't really like it. It took me a while to kind of reach out. I didn't really know what to do, but I could see him fit it. I mean, the guy showed he's got speed, and then the year before he showed he could win races, and he was in a championship contender. So, I mean, Travis has all the ingredients to do the job. So, I think he's definitely going to be a serious contender for that seat.
Yeah, and you've probably seen on social media, Ruben Chaus is posting practically every day about baggers, so he wants in bad.
Dude, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I think. He's been posting about it. He's definitely wants in. The guy's got a ton of talent. I mean, even for being older, I think he's seen what Jeremy McWilliams, the old dog's been able to do. And I think, the more the merrier. We can get big names in there like Zaus would be awesome. he definitely wants it, and I don't know where he'll lie. I thought he had a deal signed. I feel like I thought he had a deal signed or something already,
Right.
but the more the merrier. I think that would be awesome. I think we need more big names in it to give it credibility. I think people think it's a little bit easier than it is. That whole deal, the bagger class specifically has gotten very, very quick, and there's some high-level guys in there. Myself, Kyle, Travis, Bobby Fong, Hayden Gillim, Jake Lewis, like all these guys have won races, won championships in some form or another. And, an ex-World Superbike guy coming in would be crazy. And, I know there's just a lot of people trying to get in. So I don't know, man. Zaus would be an interesting character. He's been a wild one, so we'll see how he would kind of fare that. He's definitely wild. He's definitely wild, man.
So it was so weird. He showed up at Pittsburgh. It was the weirdest thing to see him. It's like, wow, of all places.
He's tranquilo a little bit. He's relaxed a little bit. He's with the body event. That guy, he's a relaxed man.
So, James, when you look back at like your career, right? I mean, it's been up and down. You had those 2 super sport titles when it was kind of like the up and coming kids class. A dirt track.
Okay.
No, I'm not I'm not bagging on you. I probably did at the time.
You were a kid too then. You were a kid. It's okay.
Dude, you can't win over here.
Well, he was East champion and then West champion. If there was a North and a South, he would have done it 2 more years.
100%. 100%.
True.
He would have had to move to Mexico and Canada, but anyway.
So we did that. We did British Superbike. But like this thing is like, I mean, it's like the perfect thing at the perfect time for you, right? Like, I mean, it just being James Rispoli right now is a pretty freaking good thing to be.
It's awesome, man. Like, I almost retired in 2019, like fully almost retired from racing, and to kind of come back through that whole deal. And like you say, timing's everything. This is exactly what I want to do right now. I want to be competitive. I want to race super hard, and I want to have fun, and that this kind of ticks all those boxes. And to be riding for the motor company, to kind of check that last box of being a factory rider. If I, can't race next year or whatever and end up retiring, I know, like, okay, I checked a lot of the boxes. I didn't make it to exactly where I wanted to go, and I have some some goals that I didn't get to check, being on the world stage and things of that nature. But man, I've done a lot of stuff. I've been in a lot of places. I rode for a lot of teams, and I get to kind of use with the way I think that this generation, the way social media is working, my real James Rispoli, attitude and persona, and to have a company to kind of stand behind, hey, we like that, and to allow me to just be myself is super cool. Like at the start of my career riding for Jordan and kind of understanding, hey, 10 plus years ago, it was a different time frame. Like it was clean cut, you can't, there's no drinking, none of this, no, like everything was super this, and now everything's kind of eased off a little bit. And it's a little bit more raw and fun, and I just enjoy where we're at right now, and it's really, really cool. And I'm just stoked, man. I'm just so pumped. I'm like, life's really, really good right now. A lot of my friends are doing well. My family's doing really well. Now I can just get my girlfriend to stateside. We'll be.
Oh yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I think she's Dutch, right?
Yeah, she is Dutch.
And then you went over there not so long ago, and she got visa issues. Is that the problem?
It's not really an issue, man. Like everything's cleared and done as far as like the process goes. We're just waiting. So essentially, in a nutshell, they only allow so many visas to get cleared, employment based, for the rest of the world. Is what her like kind of spot is, and they go off of a certain like date of when you were kind of started, right? And so she started in Feb 15th of 2022, essentially, is when that number started. And so as they get closer towards the end of the fiscal year, they retro back to people that weren't ready at the time. So they're coming back now as in October, these months, but now they've changed things where they're only kind of updating by quarter instead of every month to try to make it easier on the people, but it makes it harder for us. So essentially, we're 10 days short of being like the visa being open or being, allowed. And then she can go do her interview, and then she comes right over, and it's done. Like, she already has a 3-year contract. Like, it's just a waiting game. It stinks because she was here for like 6 months, and then she had to go back, and she's kind of having to get a job back there, and she, thought she left it and was going to start something and then kind of go back. So it's really tough on her a little bit, and it's just tough, but we'll get through it. She's strong, and she'll make it happen. And when she comes back, I can retire and she can just pay the bills.
Okay. How did you guys meet? Were you in BSB when you met her, or how did that come about?
Yeah, we met in 2018, actually at Valencia. So there was we were out. So I used to go to a lot of the MotoGPs with Bradley Smith, and at one of the after parties, I met her at one of the Red Bull parties, and we kicked it off. And at the end of the day, didn't really know where it was going to go. And then a couple months later, we ended up doing a trip when I did Rossi's Ranch. We did a trip to Dublin and saw each other, and kind of things got a little bit more spicy, and we started staying. we started getting a lot more connected and things of that nature. And then she came to America in December, and we were just like kind of tight there. And then COVID hit. It was it was really, really tough. So the fact that we made through COVID she wasn't allowed in the country with that whole baloney and all that jazz, it was it was tough, but it just definitely made our relationship stronger. And then now we're over it. And
it'll get easy from here.
Gucci.
So it's cool because it takes a, sorry, Paul, I just want to say it takes a special individual to keep up with James Rispoli. And just from talking to her, we could see she's definitely got the personality to handle that, which is cool for somebody from another country. So she's pretty fantastic, James. Nice job.
Yeah, and she seemed a little smarter than having James as a boyfriend too, but that's another story. So
yeah, she's definitely book smart for sure. She's definitely got that one ticked off, but it's tough because she's an ultimate, and she plans everything 6 months out. We're gonna do this, and I'm like, Wednesday before the race, I'm like, man, I should probably book my flight. And hey, you know what? I don't think I have a hotel yet, so I need to look at that. So it freaks her out a bit, my lifestyle, and I'm more on the wing side. I call it just controlled chaos, but it's worked out really, really good. We're having a good time, and it's made things so much easier for me to race and not have to just worry about that whole other side. And
you got a little Ben Bostrom in you, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I'll take that as a compliment.
No, it is a compliment, but he kind of flew by the seat of his pants, and in turn paid a lot of extra money for flights because he waited till the last minute or actually missed them and then had to buy another one. But so you're a licensed real estate realtor in the state of Florida, and obviously that's probably a little bit on hold now, but it's a nice thing to have when you are completely done to be able to fall back on that.
Yeah, I went heavily into it in 2021 to 2-ish when I didn't really have secured rides. I did quite a lot of deals that year. I was pretty heavy in, spending marketing money, doing this, flyers, bop, open houses, suited and booted. And then I kind of chilled out a little bit on it. I did a really good year, and I kind of realized, all right, I can do this. It's not the end of the world. I've got a good personality for it. I understand my father and Jennifer are, very successful in the real estate market. So it's very easy to piggyback off them. Even though Big Phil, he's a pretty stern guy, doesn't give anything away for free, but it's good to use their back end, and it's made things so much easier for me to get up, being able to call them at 11 o'clock at night. Hey man, what does this actually mean?
Right.
So things of that nature, and they've got me up to speed quite quickly. But it's been really good for me. It's definitely on hold. I mean, I did do 2 deals already in the last month, so got one closing next week, some land, and it's more just like I think I'm a little bit further out there where it's more just like friends that I know that, hey, I got a guy over here, and I'm like totally happy to do it, but at the same time, training and this opportunity comes first. So I'm not really putting myself out there, hey, I'm looking to do deals every single day, because there is a lot of stress involved with it. You're working with somebody else's money. You got to make sure all the boxes are checked, and you could really screw something up, and certain people are putting their life savings in. So it's something I take super serious, and I want to be super professional, and I want to take kind of my 1% attitude from racing into it. And it takes a lot of time. Like, everyone thinks, oh, you can make your own schedule, this, that, and the other. It's until you get to a certain point of clientele and having your processes and people, transaction coordinators and things of that nature, it's a 24/7 game, like anything. So I enjoy it. I love selling. Love the art of the deal. It makes things fun. I don't really like the back end work, as you could probably tell by my personality, but we get it done anyways.
There you go.
Well, it's cool because you're following in your dad's footsteps and kind of that legacy. That's you got to feel good about that you're doing a little bit of what your dad does or did do too, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad's been like the biggest supporter, and at times I think maybe is a more locked into racing than I am.
Right.
Big Phil absolutely loves it, or Little Phil now. The guy's lost a ton of
He
weight,
has
but
changed a lot. It's amazing.
so much. He's like full health guy. He's cold plunging, grounding, Wim Hof guy. Like, he's just completely 180 from Big Phil, and it's so cool to see somebody like at his age to really just get locked in on something. And he's even like inspiring me to look at new things. He's like, oh, you got to try this, that, and the other. And I always tell people, because people know my dad as like the biggest motivator, personality, and whatnot. And I mean, it's so crazy to this day. Like, I'll get off the phone here and I get 5-10 reels a day on social media of positivity and motivation and business ideas and this, and it's like, somebody, he doesn't need to send it. Some of the stuff I don't look at, and it doesn't matter. He's relentless with sending it, sending things to be more positive. And there's times where I don't talk to him for a couple of weeks, and I'll be like, man, and he's just always super positive with me. And so without him, I wouldn't have made it probably this far. I always say that. He's been there through the highs, through the lows. He's always been outside, never been in on the team. He's just kind of been from far, but he definitely is such a gearhead, man. He loves motorcycles, and I think it's super cool. And I've always said this, as long as he's alive, I'm going to keep crushing. So
that's cool. Did he ever race?
He was a weekend warrior.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a guy. He had a 600 Rotax. He had a couple framers.
Oh, he was a flat track guy.
Oh yeah, Cool Skunk started with him. So I remember, I had like a 50, and he had like 3 brand new Rotaxes rolling. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? He enjoyed it for a minute.
All right, Sean, we got to let him go here pretty quick. Do you got anything else?
Yeah, one question. So one of the things that Harley's kind of known for is Kyle and Travis in the past and that team have done a lot of testing in the off season. I'm sure you guys are going to do the same without giving anything away where you're going to be or how. You've probably got a solid testing program leading up to Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's too like crazy.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably in line with what I did with Vance and Hines last year.
Okay.
I'm just excited to get on the bikes. I think where the big gains are for where Kyle was able to make really big inroads was all the little even one day tests like in the middle of the season. He probably had 20-30% more laps than we did as Vance and Hines, just due to not having the turnaround times of that thing. And I'm really looking forward for those little things, because we could do 15 days of testing in the winter, but you go to race one and you could be off the pace.
Right.
I think during the seasons where it's so much more than before, unless there's a massive testing, because everything changes. We could go there and Indian or Vance and Hines could show up with something and be like, wow, we have to change our entire approach. So I don't think it'll be like that, but I'm just super thankful. I'm gonna take this opportunity with everything, and like I'm just gonna do everything in my power to get the best results for the motor company and everybody behind it.
All right, Paul, one more I got to ask him just because we recently ran this, I think, in one of our top 5 saves of the year or something. But we got to ask you about Daytona last year. I mean, that was crazy. Did you thought you lost? I mean, what were you thinking when that was happening?
All I did was like try to hold on as best as I could. And I say, if it wasn't for a bagger, I would have been to the moon or in the fence. There was no way a sport bike would ever been able to save that. That it was because the bagger's long, it's got rubber mounts, and it just twists and flex and things of that nature. But I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I saved it. I don't know how I just went straight back in, got in behind Hayden. It was probably good that Hayden was there because I just focused back in on him and then was able to draft back by him going to the line, and I just got my head just right back into it. But hopefully doesn't happen this year, and as much as I want the views on social and I want everybody to find my page, I don't really want to have any of that. I want it to be clean cut and hopefully out front.
Yeah, James, you are astute at social media, so let me ask you, does it drive you crazy that this stuff, it's the crazy tank slappers, the crashes? I mean, obviously people want to see that. It gets you popular. It's not good news usually, but it helps you in the long run. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think the sport needs it. I think the coverage that, specifically MotoAmerica, having so many guys in different places, being able to get vantage points and to see that stuff. You guys posted a crash, I believe, on one of the guys in the Super Hooligans in the
Yes.
in the chicane. I mean, yeah, I hope that guy's okay. But that shot specifically, people love seeing that slow-mo and seeing how the bike, kind of just
destroys itself.
Happened. Yeah. I mean, and we need it. Like that sells, and unfortunately, it's at the cause. And we want close racing like at Coda. Coda was awesome, close racing, but apart from unfortunately Kyle and Onsong running into each other, it was pretty clean. It was just a lot of movement going around. So as long as we can hopefully continue like that and keep things safe. I mean, I always say this. The bagger guys, what's so cool about it is there's nobody young in it, really. Like, everyone's kind of an old dog and kind of been around and done something, and everything's been super, clean, and everybody passes super hard and fun, but it's been clean. And I think, having everybody at a certain age and developed keeps that safe. So, yeah, I think it's crazy, and I hope things are more racy this year.
Oh, Paul, I got one more. Sorry.
Oh my God, the guy never stops, James.
Well,
I got a tea time, bro.
Okay, real quick, I want to tell you this. So we're going back to Mid Ohio, which I know is a track of favorite years. Mid Ohio is the first time I ever met you, and I know you don't remember this, but I got to point this out. My wife never comes to the track, but she happened to be there that day, and she was a language arts teacher at Londonderry. She had you as a student, and you know how sometimes your mind is on something else. And like you're kind of listening, but we know you're not. I'm like telling this whole story. Hey, Pam was your teacher, and you said, "Oh, okay, that's cool," and you just completely walked away.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's insane because I was only at Londonderry for a short amount of time.
Yeah, it was not very long.
Yeah. And speaking about Mid Ohio, it comes full circle, like the whole thing. What's crazy about me and Hayden's story is that I raced him for a championship head to head and beat him in a championship, and then crazy enough, 10 years later, we're racing to each again for a championship, and he beats me. And the same thing happened to me Mid Ohio against Hayden Gillim. It was the only time I've ever had a 9-second lead and lost the race, and
wow.
it was to Hayden Gillim. And that day set something that's never ever happened to me again. So I've had a lot of things with Hayden Gillim in my racing career, and it's kind of come full circle where we go back to Mid Ohio, one of the tracks that I love. So I'm so pumped that we're going back there.
Good, that's good.
You good, Sean?
I got that in. Yeah,
we can let him go play golf.
We can.
Dude,
I
got a tea time. We gotta go.
Okay,
man.
Hey, thanks, James.
Thanks, James.
Hope you don't
Thank
slice.
you so much.
Yeah, keep it straight.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.
See you guys.